It wasn't long ago when it was normal for children to play outside.
Generation Alpha doesn't have that luxury because their parents hand them iPhones and tell them to fuck off. Playing with friends for hours on end was a highlight of my childhood. Generation Alpha, on the other hand, is doomed. They are the first generation to be raised on endless streams of stimulation. Stunted brain development, fried attention span, and decreased empathy are just a few consequences of being raised on an iPad. Generations before current society, children were fascinated by the real world, eager to see new things, play with other kids. Everything was an adventure and learning experience. Having the ability to work with others, develop thick skin, and create friendships are important life skills learned in childhood. Generation Alpha are being robbed of important life skills that can't be learned later down the line. Instead of playing outside with kids their own age, they have been reduced to lifeless bots watching overstimulating content, constantly drinking chocolate milk while watching TikTok. iPad kids don't want to live in the real world. The moment you take away their devices, they throw temper tantrums, start acting aggressively, and can't function. What's even more disgusting is parents are allowing AI algorithms to feed their children brain rot. Pedophiles lurk the internet looking for potential victims. Children who are given unrestricted access to the internet are at risk of communicating with pedos. Since both parents work full-time jobs, corporations are raising Generation Alpha to be mindless, depressed losers with no souls. Gen Z is already in a mental health crisis. Male loneliness is on the rise, self-deletion rates are skyrocketing, and anxiety disorders are more common than colds. Human connection is slowly disappearing because people would rather get married in virtual reality. Social media addiction has created mass retardation. Nobody thinks anymore. People just spit out things they heard on TikTok without really coming up with their own thoughts and opinions. People don't talk to others around them. They bury their heads in screens, praying somebody will talk to them. What are the consequences of raising children on iPads? How is this going to affect them in the future? Is Generation Alpha able to be saved? Before smart devices, children were excited to learn about the world. Playing outside with neighbors was an adventure that lasted for hours. Here's where children learned how to defend themselves against bullies and develop thick skin. Learning how to roast is an essential life skill that teaches you how to be quick on your feet and not be overly sensitive. Now, kids these days are overly sensitive because they're not used to like people just making fun of them in general. Like, bro, your lip is fucking retarded. Why does it look like that? Be like, boy, shut up. Your shoes are fucking raw as shit. Your haircut's all shitty. Shit like that, you know, it's like lighthearted fun. Another important life skill is failure. Riding a bike, then falling off causes minor injuries, but provides a valuable lesson. When you fall, get back up. Don't be a quitter. Kids that play together develop communication skills, build friendships, and learn how to work in a team. Playing is another form of education. Generations before smartphones, kids were allowed unsupervised play for hours on end. These days, children are allowed unsupervised screen time for hours on end. Not only is this dangerous, it stunts brain development and prevents social growth. iPad kids have also been linked to decreased empathy, increased psychopathy, and a higher chance of learning disabilities. This has been made obvious by the disturbing statistics involving the minds of Generation Alpha.
They give their children a device at maybe 3 or 4, and all of a sudden that's all they want. And they don't want to play with other toys, they don't want to have any interest in other activities, they just want to be in front of their screens.
Dr. Kimberly Young is a psychologist and a professor at St. Bonaventure University in New York. She's a pioneer in the field of technology and internet addiction.
Now we're realizing there's a problem.
Yes, and that's really where the key is that we aren't giving any messages that there's a potential downside. And in 2010, the first iPad was introduced, and now everybody has a smartphone. Everybody has some kind of tablet device. And so it really brought home this issue of internet addiction. You know, if say a parent says, okay, you can't be on the internet for all afternoon, a child starts throwing a tantrum, or they become even violent because they're feeling this need to be back online. And now the age group has moved from teenagers to now really young toddlers, and saying even at 3 or 4 or 5 years old, I'm not able to control my child.
Instead of teaching children how to interact in the real world, parents have substituted playtime with screen time. Even in schools across the world, children are given iPads instead of pencils. Recess used to be about kids roasting each other, playing wall ball, and making friends. Kids these days are given iPhones instead of Heelys. If you know what Heelys are, bro, give yourself a pat on the back. If you don't know what they are, damn, bro, sucks to be you. iPad kids are becoming a new type of human, a generation of soulless people raised by stimulation machines. The first 9 years of a child's life are most important in terms of learning how to play, communicate, and cooperate with other kids. Generation Alpha are not developing the necessary skills to navigate life. Social interaction is how humans navigate the world. People who are unable to connect socially live in a constant state of anxiety, depression, and isolation. Gen Z is depressed, anxious, and isolated. And Generation Alpha never had a chance to begin with because they were raised on iPads. From birth, babies are given iPhones instead of pacifiers, immediately rotting their brain before they grow teeth. Sadly, lazy parents would rather give their kid a radioactive pacifier than play with them. I understand that parents in 2024 both work full-time jobs. Giving their kid a phone is easier than entertaining them, but that's where real connections are made. Playing games, telling stories, and sharing life lessons are how kids learn about their parents' mistakes and successes. Kids are not even interested in the people they live with, let alone see on a daily basis. Short attention span is another consequence of being an iPad kid. Drinking chocolate milk while using 3 different screens isn't gonna improve brain power. Once you take away their phone, they feel like their entire world is crumbling around them. Without a phone, iPad kids struggle to find joy in everyday life. That's because their fried dopamine receptors make life feel boring. Playing with toys isn't appealing because they would rather play Fruit Ninja. Brain rot is a condition of mental fogginess, lethargy, reduced attention span, and cognitive decline that results from an overabundance of screen time. Grown-ass adults suffer from this condition. Imagine a baby fresh out the womb that hasn't even developed consciousness, already being fed this stimulation machine that's breaking down their brain, not allowing it to develop. And this is going to be something new. Like, no one knows what's going to happen if you give a baby TikTok. Like, it's all an experiment. We're all guinea pigs in this fucking game, bro. The smartphone is radioactively cooking their brain while stripping their ability to be human. Learning disabilities are another consequence of being an iPad kid. Expert psychologists are worried about Generation Alpha's brain capacity. They fear a generation of sleepwalkers, people who walk through life without really being awake. Their ambition to learn, interact, and live in the real world will be diminished at a young age. iPad kids are given unrestricted access to the internet. Have you ever stumbled upon something traumatic while browsing the internet? Or had a friend show you something really fucked up? Well, iPad kids don't even have to have that friend because TikTok or whatever platform they're on will feed them disturbing videos, literally just out of nowhere. Gore videos, sexualized TikToks, internet challenges. Whatever catches their attention, the algorithm doesn't care. Children who freely roam the internet are at risk of contacting pedophiles, accidentally watching porn, or being traumatized by disturbing videos. YouTube is infested with fake kid videos meant to trick children into watching weird content. Fake Peppa Pig episodes are disturbing videos about torture, murder, and fear. Children stumble upon these videos believing they're watching kid-friendly content. Since iPad kids are given unrestricted access to the internet, nothing is off limits. AI algorithms control what content appears on their feed. Children are fed content that keeps them hooked onto their devices. No matter how graphic, disgusting, or traumatic the content is, algorithms don't care. Imagine a 4-year-old accidentally watching Two Girls One Cup. They're gonna be scarred for life and have a poop fetish. Gore videos, sexual content, and dangerous challenges are being fed to children. There have been numerous cases where children have been hurt by participating in dangerous internet challenges. Recently, a young boy passed away after taking part in a dangerous TikTok challenge. An 11-year-old boy suffered cardiac arrest after huffing chemicals for a challenge. The Momo Challenge, Choking Game, and Outlet Challenge are just a few of the many sadistic games found on the internet. These games trick young children into hurting themselves. Sick, twisted people roam the internet, which is why children should not be on there. The best way to protect children on the internet is to keep them off the internet. Parenting plays a major role in a child's development. In 2024, parents have entrusted algorithms to raise their kids. Again, I understand that parents these days both work full-time jobs. Giving their kid an iPad is much easier than playing with them. Teaching children how to play games in the real world is more beneficial than mindless screen time. iPad kids don't want to play outside, ride bikes, or hang out with other kids. This is 100% the parents' fault because children are supposed to be cared for. Giving a kid a phone then expecting them to behave is idiotic. They're not learning, they're consuming. Gen Alpha would rather scroll on TikTok, watch YouTube, and play video games, instead of playing outside with other kids. Basic communication skills, creativity, and playing hard is being replaced by screen time. iPad kids are being neglected without really being abandoned. Parents are just tossing them an iPhone and telling them to fuck off, when in reality they should be engaging with them, telling stories with them, showing them right from wrong. AI algorithms are teaching Generation Alpha how to be mindless consumers with no ambition. Psychological experts warn parents about the damaging effects of being raised by iPads. Delayed language development, obesity, and sleeping problems are just a few of the many consequences Generation Alpha will deal with. Eating junk food while mindlessly scrolling is not only unhealthy, it's detrimental to a child's development. Communication skills must be learned through play. Parents are abandoning their duty of giving life lessons, teaching right from wrong, and discipline. Instead, Generation Alpha are being raised by degenerate influencers, over-sexualized TikToks, and brain-dead content. Their perception of how the world works is being negatively influenced. Young boys are becoming sex addicts, young girls are suffering from body dysmorphia, and children are losing interest in being human. Generation Alpha will be underdeveloped, stupid, and unable to find joy in everyday life. Years of brain rot, lack of communication skills, and horseshit parenting is going to negatively affect their adulthood. Future generations will be dumber than the previous ones. How can we improve as a species if we're devolving into zombies? Maybe this is what they want. A generation of helpless citizens incapable of being human, sleepwalking through life without ever realizing their full potential. There is hope for Generation Alpha. Parents need to be more involved in their child's life, dedicate more time into teaching children right from wrong, encourage them to play outside, advocate for creativity, draw a picture, ride a bike, dig a hole, throw a rock, take away the damn iPad. I don't know why parents these days are terrified of letting their kids get hurt. What's the worst that can happen? They're gonna break a tooth, get a gash in their leg. I mean, that both of those things happen to me and I'm fine. I don't know if you guys can see. I have a filling in the front of my tooth. Me and my brother were playing hide and go seek, and he somehow snuck up behind me and scared the shit out of me. I banged my head above the car. I was under the car. I hit the car, and then my two front teeth just banged on the concrete. And I remember just getting out of the car crying. I was like, ah! I had like a chipped front teeth. And it was just funny. I remember my dad got mad at my brother. He was like, why'd you do that? It was really my fault because I jumped up and hit my head and cracked my teeth. And the skateboard story, yeah, I kicked the bottom of a fence that was really sharp and I had like gushing blood from my ankle. I remember our fence had the sharpest metal just under it. And it was razor sharp. And I remember riding my skateboard and I fell and basically kicked the bottom of the fence, slit the top of my ankle open. It was dripping blood everywhere, me in tears. Just crying. My mom and dad weren't home. It was just me and my grandma, and then she came outside like, what's going on? And I was like, nana, mi pie. I was like bleeding, blood everywhere. I thought I was gonna die, to be honest, because there was a lot of blood. Not a big deal. Like 30 minutes later, I was still riding the skateboard, but I had a band-aid. And to this day, I still have the scar above or on my ankle. And I survived. It was still fun. Like, playing outside, there's nothing like it, bro. Like, it's the closest thing you're going to get to learning failures, because in life, shit happens to you. You got to get up, put some dirt on it, and keep going. Now, sadly for Gen Z, they don't even get to that point. They don't even get to enjoy the experience of getting hurt and putting a Band-Aid on something. It just, like, sucks to be them right now. But it's up to us and the parents to really teach these kids how to do things the right way, not just give them a phone and expect them to figure things out. But that's just me. So I'm going to let you guys sit on that, let it marinate for a bit, and I will see you in the next video. Stay healthy, go to the gym, eat right, and give thanks to the Lord. I will see you in the next video. Ski yacht.